Welcome back to Educator.com. Today's lessons on Ruby loops. So Ruby has quite an extensive collection of loops. You'll know that when you're working with Ruby, there's many different ways you can do your coding. It's very flexible. In the same sense, there's many different types of loops you could be using. So that's why I say on this next one, you have the flexibility to choose the one that is best for you. So we're going to go over the 4 different types. The first 2 are real loops, the while and the until loop. The next one we're going to look at the for in loop. And then we'll look at more loops that you'll see in objects. We're going to do this through iterators and enumerables in objects. So the first one we're looking at is the while loop. The while loop has code that executes while a certain condition is true. So this while loop will keep going if this condition holds true. So for this example, you'll see here we have the items equals 0. And we have a loop that says, while the items is less than 10, do the things in this code block. So here's the code block here. So it says, I want you to print out the number of items with the puts, so it does a new line. Then it says increment the value of items by 1. So what this will do is, when it first gets in this loop, it's going to print the value 0. It's going to increment items, and then it's going to go back to this check that says, is items less than 10? And if it is, it's going to say, okay, we're going to go back in the loop. So it's going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down. The question is when it hits this mark here. So at the 9 value, it's going to print that out. But at the last one, it's going to increment to 10, and that's going to hold false. So that's where it's going to stop. So it's going to print at 0 to 9. The next one we're looking at is the until loop. What the until loop does says, until this condition becomes true. So that means while it's not true, it's going to continue doing it. So it's interesting because most other languages you won't see an until loop. So this is kind of a special one that's in Ruby. So here we have items equals 0. And this loop says, until items is greater than or equal to 10, continue doing these things. So it says, in this case, what I want to do is I want to print out the items and then increment the items by 1. So this is just like the while loop, but we're using the until loop for this. Notice also our check here has changed. So this is going to say I'm going to print out the value 0. I'm going to print out the value 1, 2, and once this items equals 10, it's going to stop. So again, it's going to go all the way down to value 9. And it's going to have the exact same code as the while loop, but we're using the until loop for this case. The next thing we're going to look at is single